Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me this morning. We're going to be talking about the game Meet Your Maker, and it's at the back end of the beta. I think we got maybe one day to go, and then the beta will close. And I want to briefly talk about my thoughts around the game in general and its longevity. It's a very niche game. It's got some hardcore rating on that rating side, and it's got some great building mechanics for the builder side. But the house of cards kind of crumble to the ground if they can't keep a player base. I have found that as a builder, just building, early on in the beta when people were playing the game and running through my content, I was able to continue to get the resources. I'm going to move around while I'm talking here. I was able to continuously get the resources that I needed as active people played my content. And I didn't have to go out and do any rating it out all. Well, towards the back of the beta, less and less people, I think, they just stopped playing because they knew beta was only a window of time, and whatever progression that they got was going to be removed when the game releases, right? So people played the beta for a few days, got the gist of it. They're like, yeah, I like this game. I'll probably buy it, or I won't buy it if I don't like the game. And that's going to be on April 4th. But the problem with the game is if you can't get longevity of players, people getting into the game and playing builders' contents, then the builders will be forced to raid other people's content just to keep up on their bases. Because what happens is for you to prestige your base, it costs you in-game tokens. Granted, I got a lot of in-game tokens, and I've been able to prestige some of my maps all the way up to 5. But I'm finding that each day that passes, less and less people are doing my content. Now let's look at the build mode here. I want to just show you my bird cage. So far, this map by itself has killed 1,095 people. Just this morning, it killed 61. It killed 61 people with 2 attempts. So 2 people went in, and they died 61 times. And the kill ratio is 12.4. So over 1,000 people have died in this little gem. And my Apollo, I've only got 388. This one here, I've got 198. And this one here, I got 282 deaths. People that have died in these maps. Now it looks like I have another map that went into I have another map here that went into disactive. So what it is if I want to keep the maps going, I have to prestige them up one, and I imagine it's this one right here. So I'm gonna have to, this one has a 9.7 kill rate. It's only killed 145 people. It's only had 15 attempts. And so I'm not going to prestige it up right now because right now I don't think there's enough. Either the algorithm's messed up or there's just not enough people playing the game. And that's what makes me nervous, is if they bring this game to market at $20 a copy, this game's dead on arrival. Because you're not going to get the influx of players, because it's such a niche game. You won't get the influx of players to come in and keep your base builders happy. Because like with me, as soon as I have to feel, let's say right now, I didn't have the coinage to prestige this up, and I want to, I would have to then be forced to go raid. And once Tarkus is forced to do that, Tarkus uninstalls the game, because there needs to be a balance. I mean, that's the thing, is if you've got a large influx of people playing the game, then it's never an issue. But it's such a niche game. So I had a discussion on Discord with some folks yesterday where we talked about, well, maybe they should make the game free to play and then make their money on cosmetics, like clown costumes for the mobs. Like you buy a skin and the warmonger looks like an evil clown, and they sell that skin for 99 cents or whatever. Or your weapon skin, you can make it look like an AR-15 if that's what you want to do. You pay 99 cents to skin your weapon, and that's how the developer makes the money. Because I'm thinking that if it's such a niche game, I mean, it's an incredible game. It's fun to play. It's just that once we started thinking about and watching our bases, because the other person on Discord also was a base builder, and that person spends hours and hours and hours building their base, and then after they do all that, to find out only 3 people have gone in the thing in 24 hours. And so the population, the beta population, has decreased, obviously, to a point where people aren't going through the content. So we're going to see early on, when it releases April 4th, we'll see a huge influx of players come in and play. But if they don't have a way to retain these people, well, I don't know if people want to pay $20 for this game. That's the thing, is it's such a niche game, and it's a fun game, and I've enjoyed it, and I think it's a game that I would play in the long term. But if they don't have, and the biggest problem here, I should just come to the root of it too, is they don't allow people to do your map more than once. So for example, my birdcage map, for the 1,000 people I killed, I'll never see those people again, because they've got an algorithm that once you do Tarkus's content, you can never see Tarkus's content again. So that's what I mean. If you don't have new people coming to the game, then my map will become a ghost town. Even though it's active, it's got 1,000 people that I've killed, nobody will ever see it because they've done it already and they've moved on. So there's no mechanism in the game to have my map show up again on somebody else's screen. So it's basically it's diminishing returns. So you've got a player base of 1,000 people. They come in, play Tarkus's content. No new people are joining the game. That map is worthless to me until I decide to delete it and start a new map. So maybe that's what they want you to do, is be forced that you only can prestige this thing up to, like this one, I got it up to 3. So once everybody does it, I can't bump it anymore, because it would be worthless for me to do, because it's not generating me any money, because no one's going into it, because people have done the content already. There's not new people coming onto the game, so the content just becomes stale. I'll be forced to delete this map, start a new map on a different node, a different burial ground, and start the process again. And I don't know if your builders really want to do that, having to know that whatever they build, they're going to have to wait until you start seeing the numbers decline, delete it, then start the building process over again. And then the algorithm puts that new burial ground in the list, and then the players then can tackle it. I don't know if it's going to be a huge issue, but I can see that if the game doesn't have a smooth player base, then it does kind of hinder your builders, because they're not being able to get the resources they need to continue buying new burial grounds and buying prestige upgrades to get the maps up there to, like my Apollo map just got to prestige 6, and that map, I've only killed 388 people on that map, and it's declining. Every day it's declining. And again, because the player base, I think, has jumped ship, either deciding this game's not for me, I'm not playing this game anymore, or this game is for me, I figured this game out for me, the beta went smooth, and then they're going to buy it on April 4th. So that's just my thoughts about, the longevity of the game. I've got a lot of games in my wheelhouse coming up. So, I'm not going to stick my flag. You guys know me. I'm not sticking my flag in just one game. But I know I have games that are in my top 5 playlists. And I was hoping that this game was going to be in my top 5, meaning that Tarkus at least once a week will play this game. And if Tarkus finds that there's just not enough people coming into the content, where people have, for 2 months, they've played, and they're like, okay, I get this, it's boring, I'm moving on. And then within 3 months, there's just nobody playing the game anymore. And at that time, the game manufacturer needs to decide, do we go free to play, or we reduce the cost? But I would say anything over $20 for this game, it's not worth it. It's a beautiful, nice, thought out game, but I've seen some amazing games that were at the $20 mark that gave me months worth of content. And if you think about the mechanics of this game, once people have kind of done their thing and really kind of grinded for a few months, they're going to probably get bored with the game. Already on the Steam forums, people are like, this is boring as hell. It's the same craziness over and over again. People the people are complaining about the games, how difficult it is, how the map makers are making the maps impossible, and there's a back and forth on the forums about, well, guys, if you do this and you do this, and the problem with players is if they don't find that the game is fun. It's like playing chess against a computer you can never beat, right? Eventually, you're going to be like, I'm going to give up. I can't beat this computer. And it's just not fun anymore. It's because you want to win occasionally, right? Or you want to feel that your game is evolving to a way that in the future you'll be better at it. But within 2 months of this game, if you're a hardcore raider, you're going to be asking yourself, is this the game I want to continue playing? Because, you know, it was great, it was fun in the beginning, and do I stick around to continue playing? So I think they need to also think about the longevity of the player base. That's what they really need to think about, and how they keep players on this platform. Because, again, we were discussing on Discord yesterday, is if most people, and this is the case with every game, people buy a game, they play it for a little while, and they never come back to it. They just get what they needed out of it. And that's a good 20% of the people that buy the game. And we were finding that the numbers in beta were only about 1,000 people playing a night, where other games that were in beta had tens of thousands of people playing during the night. So it all comes down to also competing against other games that are out on the market. So if you're going to price your game at $20 and the Harry Potter game just hit, good luck getting any of those Harry Potter money, because you're not going to get it. And you got other games coming out, because there's some people in this world that can't afford multiple video games, you know, every other month. Or I've got one friend that gets his wife allows him 2 video games a year. So he's got to selectively pick which ones that he knows is going to have longevity, because that's all he can do is, you know, is buy 2 video games a year. Obviously, I'm not in that bracket. You know, I buy video games all the time. I get video games given to me by publishers that ask me to play their games and review them. It's seldom that I spend money on a video game, as you guys know, because I do have these connections out in the video game world where people are just contacting me and saying, Tarkus, I've got this game coming up. Here's a CD key. Please play the game and let us know what you think. And I get a lot of that in my orbit. So it's very rarely that I pay for a video game. I will pay for this video game if it's a reasonable price. But if it's in the $30 or $40 mark, Tarkus is going to pitch his flag in a different video game. He's going to go to a different video game and play a different video game and review other games. And I might come back to this game when the price point goes down, or I might come back to it when it's free to play. I mean, they have an opportunity to make a crap load of money with selling skins in this game. They really could skin that crap out of this game. And this way, everybody would look unique. Everybody could, you know, it's just that's how Fortnite did it, right? They get, you know, because it's the same process over and over again. Fortnite games, right? So you buy a skin for your hammer, you buy a skin for your helmet. Those are the kinds of things that people make, you know, that spend money on. And the fact being is, not everybody buys. So you can go in and never pay for the game, but you're a player in the game, keeping the economy going. So that's why you keep it free to play, is so that your player base is always renewing. People are going to like, oh, it's free, let me try it. And then they become part of the economy, and they help those people that are really loving the game, that are paying money for the skins. Well, that's just my thought on the back end of this beta testing. And I enjoy the game. And if you've watched any of the videos, I've had a great time with this game. But here we are, we're closing the beta down. It's really... I think it's last day. I wanted to show you real quick before we conclude this video that my birdhouse map is still successfully doing well for me. I'm getting more and more people failing it now that I've tweaked it. That person had 8 attempts and gave up. A couple of my maps have been like that. You know, the Comstock map, 3 deaths gave up, 8 deaths gave up. And so I'm doing something with my maps now that I've been able to tweak them, where people are actively going into them and failing or giving up on the process. And you'll see I've got I guess I could sort this by failed attempts. Here we go. So as you can see, my list is long of people who failed the dungeon in the 5 days that, I mean, it just keeps on going, keeps on going. These are the people who failed to get the prize, but still tried and tried and tried. Oh, now it's starting to repeat things, so let's get out of this. I found that to be a bug, that when it starts repeating things on that screen, it's going to crash. But overall, it's a fun game. They could do a little bit better on the on some of the graphics or the design. Like this creature, you're upgrading this creature, but yet you see no progress. Like I've got it to level 21, but I don't see any progress, visual progress on the screen that shows me that. When I upgrade these NPCs, is a visual process that occurs during the upgrade, but when I'm upgrading the project, I get to push a button and I don't see any upgraded progress, which seems to be a very lazy thing for the developers to do. That just seems lazy mode, right? All right, well, thank you for joining me. This has been The Darkest Zone.